drinking, bathing, swimming, and even brushing your teeth. What do they all have in common? They all have to do with water.
Water. It is a human necessity for proper health. If you do not get water, it can lead to serious dehydration and even death. As fortunate United States citizens, we pretty much take water for granted. However, some people across the globe are not so fortunate. How, Based on a recent UN water finding, 783 million people, which is 1 in 9 people, suffer from a lack of accessible clean drinking water. And about 2.5 billion people do not have adequate source of sanitation. I always knew that this was a serious problem, but I never knew how much this actually affected people. In this documentary, I will be explaining this problem in depth and what people have done to try to solve this terrible issue. The General Assembly recently passed that proper sanitation and access to safe water is a human right. This map shows the intensity of lack of water throughout the whole world. The darker red shows the more intense regions that are affected by lack of water. As you can see, most of Africa is highly affected by lack of water, as well as Southeast Asia being affected as well. Having clean and safe drinking water being a human right is definitely putting us towards the right direction of ending it, because right now there are about 1.5 million children under the age of 5 who die every year because of not having access to water. There are also many illnesses that can occur by not having clean and safe water, such as diarrheal, schizomyiasis, and parasitical worm infections. So not having water is really, really bad. So making it a human right is definitely putting us on the path to ending it. The lack of water and proper sanitation does not only affect someone's health, but it also affects their learning environment. About 2 million Afghan students do not have access to safe drinking water. 40% of schools don't even have water on site, says UNICEF water and sanitation expert Zahida Stanzigzai. Stanzigzai also says that schools' toilets are not clean and well maintained. The current design and location of toilets are not acceptable for children and students, and there are no facilities for grown-up girls. UNICEF officer Prakash Tuladzar says that girls do not attend because there are no sanitation facilities. Having no sanitation facilities leads to a big threat for one of the biggest, most common illnesses, diarrhea. Now, I want you to imagine yourself in this scenario. It is 80 plus degrees, it's dry, and you want to use the bathroom. You get to go. However, it is very dirty and very poorly maintained. You do your business, and when you want to go wash your hands, no water comes out the faucet. You have nothing to do, so you go back to class. You touch your pencil, paper, and even friends. Then you go to lunch and eat, knowing you didn't wash hands from before. Another scenario. Again, it's 80 plus degrees, and you want a drink to hydrate yourself. When you go to the water fountain, nothing comes out. Now, you're stuck, very thirsty, and very dehydrated. This is what kids in Afghanistan deal with every day. Even though the United States is a wealthy, fortunate country, there are numerous instances where they lack clean and safe water. This is what the water looked like in August of 2014 for citizens who live near the Great Lakes. This water is green because the water is being infested with toxic algae. The citizens' main water source are the Great Lakes. So, the citizens are in trouble with the fact that they cannot drink the water. This graph shows the phosphorus levels in Lake Erie. The dotted green line shows what the level should be. The blue line shows what the level actually is. As you can see, most of the time the phosphorus level is high. This can cause an unsafe drinking water for the citizens. This map now shows the algae in the level in the lakes. As you can see, the algae levels are so high that it can be seen from very high up. The next images show how gross the algae bloom affected the water. This next clip goes more in depth about the hazards of the toxic algae bloom in the Great Lakes and how much it could affect individuals.
Turning on the kitchen tap for safe drinking water is something that we take for granted in the Great Lakes region. But when our drinking water is contaminated by toxic algal blooms, we can't drink it. And that's exactly what happened last summer in western Lake Erie. The toxic algal bloom problem starts with nutrients that run off farm fields and flow from sewage treatment plants. We usually think of nutrients as good, but too much of a good thing can be bad for our lakes. The flood of nutrients into the lakes becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet for the algae. When the blooms get too big, they can become toxic, threatening our health, our recreation, and our economy. This is unacceptable. Lake Erie is in so much trouble that drinking water is at risk for nearly 11 million people. Harmful algal blooms have also been found in Lake Huron and Lake Michigan. While rescuing our Great Lakes may seem like a daunting task, it is a job that we can do. We just need your help. Click the link and visit our website. You'll find plenty of ideas for how you can help.
Right now, California citizens are suffering through a very severe lack of water. This is because there is a lack of snowfall in the West, and the snowpack of the West does not have enough water. The snowpack serves as 1/3 of California's water supply. California is also very hot and dry and gets very little rainfall, so California is also experiencing a very severe drought. California has less water than ever before because of this drought. This map shows the intensity of the drought that is currently affecting California. The darker red shows the more intense regions affected. As you can see, almost all of California is the dark red, so almost all of California is affected by the drought. The next map is from NASA, showing the presence of water in soil. The blue shows an adequate amount of water in the soil. The red shows that the soil is terribly dry and has no water. Again, as you can see, California is pretty much all dark red, so most of California has little to no water in the soil. This affects crops being grown by farmers, which affects the profit for the farmers. So, this California drought is very effective towards all people. This political cartoon represents the frustration of Californian citizens dealing with the drought. The state is also being baked in an oven, which represents the intense heat California is going through. The man outside is showing that he cannot do anything because California is stuck and he can't change nature. The clip you're about to see is an NBC News clip talking about the intensity of the drought and how much it's affecting crop growers and other people like that.
A drastic change just this week from extreme to even worse, if that's possible, as California suffers through an unprecedented drought that we've been covering over half the state, now facing the most severe conditions. One of the hardest hit areas is Lake Piru in California. NBC's Joe Fryer is there for us tonight. Joe, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Hard to believe this is Lake Piru. We're actually standing at the boat launch. Clearly no boats going in the water. In fact, you can't even see water from where we're standing. Lake levels here are at 25% of what's considered normal, all thanks to a drought that's causing some to take drastic measures. On a parched citrus farm in Central California, it has come to this. A bulldozer is ripping out 1/3 of Sean Stevenson's orange trees. There's just not enough water to keep everything alive.
When these trees are gone, they're not going to use any more water, so I can put that water on another crop.
Already, he has laid off some of his staff, a 4th-generation farm facing a once-in-a-lifetime dry spell.
If we have another year as dry as this last one, we'll probably be just about entirely out of business.
Take a look at California's drought map. This is what it looked like last week, and here it is this week. Exceptional drought in dark red now covers 58% of the state, up from 36% just 7 days ago.
It doesn't impact just the state of California. It impacts everyone in the nation and internationally.
What didn't help, Tuesday's water main break, which flooded UCLA with 20 million gallons of water. Starting this week, California is issuing $500 fines to water wasters like those dousing driveways and sidewalks. Brown lawns are now a surprisingly common sight in the wealthy celebrity enclave of Montecito, which has been rationing water since February.
If it doesn't rain next year, everyone will be rationing in the state.
A new study says this year's drought will cost California $2.2 billion, a huge blow to the nation's top agriculture state and to farmers like Sean Stevenson. In addition to shallow lakes, California's reservoirs are incredibly low, most of the major ones in this state now below 50% capacity.
There are many charities and organizations trying to raise money to stop the crisis of lack of water. There are also many organizations trying to donate as much as they can to gain the amount of clean and safe drinking water to countries. One of the companies that donated to gain more water for less fortunate countries is the electrical company Panasonic. Panasonic donated 5 clean water facilities to Tangerang, Indonesia. They donated this under their Panasonic Clean Village program. This was very successful. This installation increased water access from 37% in 1993 to 67% in 2013. This also increased the access to sanitation, which was 24% in 1993 to 59% in 2013. Like I said before, there are many charities and organizations that use donations to give countries safe drinking water. Charities such as Water.org, UNICEF, and the Water Project use the donations to give countries the water. More specifically, UNICEF has a project called Water for the World Act, which donates clean water for families. One specific thing that they did is that they delivered clean water to over 10 million people in Syria. Another project UNICEF is currently working on is called the UNICEF TAP Project. Here is a commercial to inform you about the project.
We're obsessed with our cell phones. Sometimes for good reasons. Other times, we check for likes. And check. And check. Or read intriguing articles about, well, never mind. And have you been out to dinner lately? We think we can't live without our phones. So why don't we use them to help provide something people actually can't live without? Clean water. At UNICEFTapProject.org, you can do just that. Give clean water to a child in need by taking a challenge to not touch your phone. The longer you go without your phone, the more you can help UNICEF put children first by providing them with clean water. 15 minutes could help provide a child with clean water for a day. Every minute counts, so keep going. When you can't resist any longer, our sponsors will make a donation to support the UNICEF TAP project based on the time you went without your phone. At this point, you can make an even bigger difference by donating yourself and challenging a friend to beat your time. As little as $5 could help provide a child with clean water for 200 days. The fact that millions of children still live without something as basic as clean water is hard to comprehend. So take a moment to reflect by going without something far less vital than water, your cell phone. Go to UNICEFTapProject.org.
In conclusion, water is a basic human necessity that all people need to live, and some people across the globe do not have access to adequate water. Even a country as wealthy as the United States can suffer from lack of water. There are many charities that are currently doing everything they can to ensure that everyone on Earth gets access to clean and safe water. Now, there are many things that you can do to help give countries clean water, such as doing the UNICEF TAP project, where you don't go on your phone. You can also donate directly to UNICEF, the Water Project, or Water.org. You can also try to conserve as much water as possible, just to ensure that water is going to the things that it needs most. Thanks for watching.